Hi, Nick. Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. Welcome back, Nick.
Peter glitched out for a second.
Oh, is that what we calling candy now? A glitch?
No. I also hit the wrong refresh button. I was trying to refresh my YouTube page, and I hit the wrong one. I refreshed StreamYard. I'm like, oh no.
Oops. It happens. So, how's everybody doing?
Good here.
Jim?
I'm fine. Just we're not ready. We're not there yet. I just got kicked offline totally. I had to restart my computer. I froze up totally, so I'm still putting my screens back up.
Yeah. Sharonda, what you been up to?
Bunch of foolery. Actually, I got a heavy month coming up. Whitetail season started, so I'm trying to get ready for that. Trying to do the archery and maybe the shotgun part. I got a bunch of mentoring to do. I'm still trying to figure out how 4 teenagers talked me into taking them camping at the end of October, and my adult cousin, and it's been non-stop chatter. What do I need? What are we eating? I'm like, we're only doing it for one day, but the way they're planning it, you think it was for 2 weeks or we're about to go live off the land. But I'm excited about their enthusiasm, and needless to say, the area that we're camping at is private property. And they said, "Oh yeah, if you want them to shoot, we'll clear out the range area for you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm gonna introduce the teenagers to some stuff, and women weekend, and still tinkering around with the Creedmoor and scopes and all that boring stuff. Oh, and I joined a derby league. Don't ask.
You joined a what?
Joined a roller derby.
Derby.
Women's I shouldn't say women's. It's predominantly women, but I joined a roller derby league. Don't ask.
That's kind of funny, actually.
And here's the kicker, y'all. I don't even know how to skate.
That's even funnier.
I mean, hell, at this point, if I want to do something, I'm just gonna go ahead and dive in. What better way to do it than just jump?
Well, if you don't skate, you're gonna have to run really fast to keep up with those skaters.
Actually, for 2 or 3 lessons, because we have to go to boot camp, it's actually not been bad. Like, it's not been embarrassing. It's not graceful.
Well, it isn't supposed to be graceful.
Yeah.
You're supposed to bang into each other.
We haven't got to that point yet. We're working all on falling.
Okay.
That's it. I just live a boring life right now.
We lost Mike.
Lost him.
How the hell do we lose Mike?
Well,
Nick, what's going on, Nick?
Not too much. Had a pretty long weekend. Worked a couple days at the gun counter. Went to a doubleheader baseball game on Saturday down in St. Louis. Hoping to see some history, but that didn't happen.
That's right, sucker.
Got sunburnt pretty bad.
That's okay. We got our butts kicked yesterday, so.
But then just relaxing. Busy couple days here at work, and then Thursday I leave for a reenactment event. So
nice,
a big one.
Oh, what state is that one? Is it in Illinois, or are you traveling?
It's in Illinois. It's up northern Illinois, up close to the Wisconsin border. So
you hear about that new New York law that they passed? The sheriffs are sitting there saying after they read the law that reenactments are not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
So sounds fun.
Good job, New York.
Yeah.
One finger salute to New York.
Well, specifically, what's her name that's in charge?
The governor.
Well, we got a bad bill coming here first of the year, but that's a whole different story.
Anyhow, I'm just sitting there doing my walking and getting CrossFit now, so the doctor can kind of release me. So that's what all I've been able to do. So not much else going on.
Are you on withdrawal yet?
Withdrawal big time.
Mm.
Yeah. Sitting there going,
Hands just don't know what to do with themselves because they're not tinkering with things.
Oh, really? I mean, I don't have my reloading room or anything. I'm just sitting there going, okay, come on,
I am actually surprised you don't have rigged up some type of portable reloading deal to take with you or something.
I wasn't
pocketed away at where you're at.
I wasn't expecting this. I mean, really, it was the day that I had it was the day that I had my last doctor's appointment, and I was going home the next day. It was, so that's where it was really at. So next thing I know, I'm in an ambulance ride to the hospital, and they're putting stents in me. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Jeez.
So,
well, we're glad you're doing better.
Oh, I'm trying.
Are you at least doing what you are supposed to be doing? That's the key question.
That's the big key is moving, is walking, big time. So, I went in to buy a new pair of gym shoes to walk in. Okay, and my daughter takes me to DSW, and so I pick out a pair of Adidas shoes in the clearance rack, and they're listed as $100. I go to pay for them. No, well, listen, I go to pay for them, and they're 30% off, and I got a 30% coupon. And they said, well, the coupon expired. I says, well, they sent it to me today. And, I hand them my phone, and okay. And so they go back and forth. I bought the shoes for $14.90.
Outstanding.
Holy crap.
And men, now you know why women have so many pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Those name brand heels that y'all like, we get them for that price too.
I wouldn't know a thing about what you're talking about.
I'm telling the missus. Now, Paul, if you need me, FedEx me your keys. I'll gladly go to your garage and grab whatever you need and bring it to you.
Well, you don't need a key to get in my garage.
Oh, just the code?
I got it's electronic code to get in. So that's it, and it's not in my garage. I got a whole room there. I have a 14 by 25 room that is all reloading. Now,
do you need any of us to go there to make sure your room's dust free and everything still works and moves?
Sure, why not? You're not far away. It's only in Bloomington, Indiana. Nick's the closest. He'd have fun there.
I bet he would.
I just want to get out of Illinois. That's the big thing.
Jimmy, what did you be doing?
Who are you talking to?
You, sir.
You're the only Jim out here?
I don't see any Jimmy on screen.
Oh, okay.
Polly. Anyway, what I've been doing is I've been getting ready to do... Okay, whatever. What I've been doing is getting ready to do some giveaways.
Oh, wow.
Component giveaways. That's what these priority mailboxes are about. Thanks to a good friend of the podcast, a long time dedicated listener, who I'll give a shout out to later on. He's made sure that I have plenty of stuff to give away for the first giveaway. Probably might be next week. What I'd like to see is give away to the live chat guys next week. Unless Mike, unless you have objections to that.
Nope.
All I'll do is give away 100 wads, well, shot cups, and 100 holes. Same package. And hopefully you guys spread the word among each other on the live chat.
And on the forums.
Oh, that'll work too. Mike and I'll work something out about how to pick out maybe two winners.
Mm-hmm.
Mike's got more experience with giveaways than I do. I'm not going to take up much more of the airtime with giveaways. We'll do them on a regular basis, semi-regular basis, but I've got oodles, buckets, literally buckets of shot cups to go and buckets of holes to go.
Nice. Nice.
Well, that's not going to work like I wanted to.
How about you, Mike? You do anything guns reloading this week?
No, just well, I used my last gift card at Cabela's and picked up a wall hanger. Bayard, hammered side by side. Bayard.
Oh.
Do 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 do. Bayard. Bayard. So. That'll be a wall hanger.
Go over the mantle of the fireplace, right?
Yep, something like
that. Why is it Damascus steel?
No, it's hammered.
Why is it a wall hanger?
I just don't know if it's really shootable. I didn't buy it to shoot. Maybe I'll clean it up at some point in time, but
it's got a little wiggle in the action there.
Yep.
Oh, that's never good.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, one thing about over-under guns like that, over and under and side by sides, is they can be fixed. The locking lug that goes in there needs to be rebuilt, but yeah, it can happen.
Time and money.
Yep. Always.
True. I mean, we're in one of the most expensive hobbies there is.
It's expensive, yeah, but there's other ones.
Oh, I know that. I know there's more expensive ones. Collecting cars, for example.
Yeah, there you go. Fixing cars. Yeah, especially old ones. Restoring stuff. That's But then again, a good shotgun will run you, $25,000. So I guess they're pretty close.
It's all about turning money into noise.
Yeah. Yep. I am not sure if that is a Belgian-made gun or not.
I don't know. Yep. Yes, it is.
There you go, Spudman. You got your answer.
We had a loss lost this weekend. As everybody knows, Boyd Stocks and Hugh Grips, the owner of the company, Aaron Hugh, died in an airplane crash at the Nevada air races.
Damn.
So, he was flying in one of the jet class, which is the fastest class they have there, and he went into a G-lock and went into the ground.
He was flying it himself?
Yes, he was. So he was named last year. He was named Rookie of the Year at the air races. So he's only got a couple of years experience in the jets. So
They move fast.
yeah, 500 miles an hour going around pylons. Yeah, they move fast. So just letting everybody know. And we got any questions for tonight, Mike?
Nope. Just talking about, excuse me, loading handgun for competition.
Oh, okay. A lot goes into that.
Yep.
A lot goes into that. We could start with action shooting sports, IDPA, IPSC, and move over into the other competitions too.
Yeah, let's start. Yeah, let's start with the run and gun ones.
Okay.
So if you're Travis, you're trying to make your 9mm as stout as possible, so you can knock over those poppers.
Right. So you need a fast load, an accurate load, and you need to be able to shoot a lot to practice. So let's start with brass first. Because it's 3-gun, the targets are fairly close for handgun. You can get away with lighter loads as far as target loads, but still have enough oomph to knock over a popper. So let's say 9mm would be the smallest you'd go. So 124, 125 grain bullet at somewhere about 1,100 feet per second. Using, now I'm going to say that I wouldn't be using a powder like tight group or something like that. Reason being is I want the velocity and I want to
Case
be able
capacity.
I want to make sure that my cases are full, because I'm going to be running them on a progressive press, and any double charges or anything like that would happen. You would see it and not have a problem with it, because the powder would spill over on the second charge. Also is because the longer burn of a powder, because you're using you're going to use a 5-inch pistol in most of that situations, because you're looking for the velocity. I would, again, using a slower powder gives me an advantage in velocity.
Explain that, because some people think faster powder, faster velocity. Why does the slower powder give you better velocity?
Well, it gives me better velocity because I got a longer barrel to burn things in. So in other words, I have more energy being directed towards the bullet because of the slower powder and the longer barrel. Okay, with a fast burning powder, it may burn in the first. It's better off to shoot it, in a 4-inch gun or a 3.5-inch gun. You won't have a problem with that. But a longer burning powder gives me more push to the bullet. It also gives me a better recoil as far as controlling the pistol. In other words, the long, slower push is going to give me a better control of the pistol during competition. The Again, he doesn't have any power limits that are set with 3-gun, but he's got to make sure that he can knock over the poppers. So, I would be looking at powders like Autocomp, uh, Power Pistol, and things in that burning range to get a good velocity load and a good controllable load. Mark K has CFE pistol. Yeah, that would work.
I have a question, if you don't mind, Paul.
Sure.
While knocking over these steel targets, which would be better, 125 grain bullet or 147 grain?
I found that
driving them both hard.
I have found that I like a 124 grain bullet to knock over targets, or 124, 125. They seem to do fine with it without producing a lot of recoil.
Right.
I'm going to be loading. For me, I load a little towards the hotter side, just because of the pistols that I use, that I normally use them in, which are 1911s. That was either a 9mm, well, mostly a 9mm. They're set up to run. In other words, the lockup is set up to run a little bit hotter load than most, and sprung for it. Six-pack project, Blue Dot. I use Blue Dot for 38 Super. It is great velocity, and it fills the case up really well. The problem with 38 Super and 40 in loading those is that you just about have to have a roll sizer in order to take the lump out of the case that you get, because of the support, of the lack of support in the back of the case at the case head. And with 38 Super and a comp pistol, you can go really, really high, but we're not there yet. We're still at 3-gun. So, but to get enough impact on targets, a good 124, 125 grain bullet, 11 to 1200 feet per second, you're in good shape. In a 5-inch gun.
Says 38 Super brass is also not cheap.
I would also say, as far as reloading for competition, it depends upon the competition you're reloading for, whatever it is, whether it's USPS or USPCA or whatever. IPSC, NRA Bullseye, for example, that's a totally different bear altogether.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We're getting that. We're getting there. We're starting with 3-gun, and we have steel poppers to deal with here, and
yep.
And that. So and I'm just saying, what I feel is ideal load. Nothing really exotic, just a good solid 9mm load that would work. If if you want to shoot a 40, that's fine. I mean, it would again, auto comp, blue dot, um, uh, power pistol, any of those would be fine for a 40, and be able to fill a case up and not have a lot of extra room in it, so you don't have a chance of double charging. Um, 40 gives you an advantage and a disadvantage. The 40 gives you a heavier bullet, same velocity as a 9mm, more recoil, and a lot of the guns are not fully supported in the back of the head area in a 40, and you get they call it a Glock bulge, but a lot of guns have it. So I don't know many people that run 45 in 3-gun, except in heavy class, which is 308 and 45. But you're just, 230 grain, a 200 grain to 230 grain bullet flattens most poppers. So,
if driven at appropriate velocity.
Yeah. Okay, Paul. Yep. Next on the list, we go to the drawing, the IDPA, and let's go with IDPA first. Again, 9mm, 40, 45. You got a lot of, but IDPA, you got a lot of people that shoot revolver class too. So now you're sitting there with a gun that's going to use a 7 or an 8 shot wound clip, and 357, 38. You need for that, you need a good solid frame gun, and you need bullets that are going to go in quickly when you dump that six star clip out, and not expand so much in your cylinders. So most of the time you'll find that they'll load the gun up to a power factor of 125 to 130 in the game, and that means it's velocity times the bullet weight, and it gives you a power factor, and then it's divided. I can't remember what it was divided by anymore, but you need a heavy enough bullet to make their power factor, and you have to develop your loads so you don't when they test your load, you have to have enough power behind it that if the chronograph is off, that you're still get your loads are still going to make it. So if it's 125 as a minimum, load to 130 or 135. So
Dylan has on their website, they have a calculator for,
okay,
and they've got it divided. They've got the listings for USPSA, IPSC, ICOR, SAS, IDPA. So you put your bullet weight in grains. So we'll say 147 grain bullet, and how fast we're moving it, 1150.
Yep.
Just for fun. Power factor of 169.05, which is major in USPSA. It is open for IPSC. And for IDPA, it's covers everything.
Right. But that's a hot
It
load.
ought to.
And
Yeah, I
SAS,
was gonna say.
SAS, we don't care because we're not shooting a 9mm in SAS.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
So
9mm, 147 grain, 1100 feet per second, even 1150. That's a good stiff load.
I don't even know what ICOR is. Oh, ICOR is International Confederation of Revolver Enthusiasts. So we don't care about theirs either because we're not shooting a revolver in this particular. So Paul Loud wants to know, is power factor just accepted by estimated data? No. They actually test your loads.
Yes. Yeah. There's no book shooting there.
Nope. They actually have a chronograph. They run your loads over the chronograph and they do the calculations.
Yep.
And if you say you're in one class and your ammo says you're in another class, you're in the other class.
Well, and also if you're shooting
or disqualified.
If you're shooting and they pull your ammo, yeah, you can be disqualified. That's why I'm stressing that to load hotter than what you think you have to be at. So it's in all the power classes that you're sitting there, you have to please be above it. So, but the hard part is getting your brass sized right, getting your primers right, and not having problems with your gun functioning. Okay. Also, inspecting your loads as you go through. When you, instead of putting all your reloads in a let's say a box or a jar or whatever you carry your reloads in, have them in a regular ammo box with the primers up, so you can sit down and look at each one as you load it to make sure that you don't have a flip primer, a cockeyed primer, a primer that's seated too high. These are the things that will jam a gun up. It's very important that you full length size your cases well and inspect them as you're going through and boxing them up. If you're just going out to have fun at the range, you can throw them all in a jar or a jug or a bag, whatever. But if you're going to shoot for competition, put them in a box You can see the primers, see the bullets when you go to put them in, and know that they're right.
MTML boxes work great for exactly what you're talking about, Paul.
Right. And you get into to some of this stuff if you really get into it. They make ammo checkers that are 50 and 100. Okay, so you can actually sit down and put 100 rounds in an ammo checker and be able to pick out the ones that are bad, which do happen if you're using reloads as far as it goes, without with reloaded brass instead of new brass. IPSC, USPSA, you got minor and major. Now, 9mm in a comp gun, which what I call 9mm major, and then there's 38 super, 38 super comp. Those are loaded. You're talking 115 grain bullet loaded to 1,500, 1,600 feet per second, in a 13 to 15 pound spring gun. Never, ever, ever lend any of that ammunition you make for one of those guns to anybody. A 9mm major with power pistol is going to produce close to 50,000 psi. In 38 super, you can get up to as high as 60,000 psi in a good comp gun. You can wear barrels out very fast in that game, because of the high heat and the number of rounds that are fired in it. New brass only in 9 major, new brass only in 38 super for competition. Once you're actually shooting, you can go pick up all the range brass you want. You see a live round in there, leave it, walk away, but use those reloads only for practice. In 40 and 38 super, and it'll be mostly, and 38 super comp, you just about have to have a roll sizer to take out the bulge in the case, and they're not cheap. 40 does have an advantage because there are a couple of dies from Reading that they make where you can actually pass the case all the way through. So, which will take out the case bulge. I think Lee may make one too. I'm not sure.
I think they make one, especially for the APP now.
Okay. But yeah, you really have to be tight in your dimensions and everything else in it. Again, you're pushing your loads to the maximum on anytime you're shooting major in that class. And in open division, you're way above. You have to compete with a comp gun in open division because it just, it's what everybody else is going to use, and the ports and everything on the compensator are what makes a race gun go fast. Okay. So you got a big heavy charge. You're producing a lot of gas, and it's causing the gun to run very, very flat. So is this where undersized dies originated? Somewhat, yes. People were trying to get the bulges down on the case by just passing them through a die. Lee has undersized dies. There's a couple other companies that make them. The chambers that you cut with them are almost undersized. They're to the minimum tolerances. So yes, a lot of people use an undersized die to produce it. If you're shooting minor, I mean, you still have a power factor to meet, but that's mostly for people who are shooting a factory gun. So you can get away with a factory load or somewhat that attunes to a factory load in your reloads. Eli Ammunition makes 38 Super Comp that is major. So, you can go that way too. What's next? Where do we want to go? Where do you want to go, Mike?
Let's see here. So we kind of covered the 3-gun, the major competitions. Bullseye. Jim, you want to come in on this one? You're a big bullseye shooter.
So, some people call me some kind of a BS shooter, especially that beautiful lady sitting in the lower right corner.
I said no such thing.
Nobody believes you. You know that, right? I've shot quite a bit of NRA Bullseye. I shot 38 Special. I shot 45 ACP. I also shot 22 rimfire. But 38 Special, the idea is not so much to make a hot load as it is to get your bullet in the same hole every time. And to do that, they generally load that 38 Special with a 148 grain wad cutter over 2.7 grains of Bullseye. And that's considered to be the standard best accurate load for most 38 Special revolvers. That's simple as that. Exactly. Six Pack Project's got a good comment up I'd like to highlight. And that is 38 wad cutter on pipsqueak loaded Bullseye. I call them powder puff loads.
Okay.
But you shoot a little 2-inch 38 Special, 2-inch barrel 38 Special gun with one of them powder puff loads and put a wad cutter in it. It's surprising how much recoil there is because the gun, it's half the size of my hand.
Yeah. So on bullseye shooting, you're using a hollow base wad cutter, right?
Right. You can use double end. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
38 Special hollow base wad cutter is considered better because the skirt of the bullet obturates, expands like a mini ball. Help me out, you black powder shooters. Expands like a mini ball and grazes the rifling a lot more tightly.
And also cuts off a lot of the gas loss.
Gives you better gas seal, absolutely.
A better gas seal at the juncture of the revolver, and it's mostly a revolver shooting with bullseye, except for 45 ACP, right?
Yes, I shot my Mark II quite a bit with NRA Bullseye.
Okay.
But no, Marquet, I have to beg to differ with you there. We're talking. His comment is with just enough powder to fall out of the barrel. Let's go on highlight without getting it stuck in the barrel. I beg to differ with you. It's about 750 feet per second. It's slow enough you can actually see the bullet fly. But yeah, it's still. I wouldn't want to catch one. Let's put it that way.
Six Pack Project says he's got a 1911 and 38 special. Yes.
I've heard of those.
Yes.
Smith and Wesson didn't Smith and Wesson make a 38 special semi-auto?
52. Model
That's
52
right.
was the 38 special in single action. It was basically a remodified Model 39 that they cut up and made it run a 38 wad cutter, and it would only shoot a 38 wad cutter.
Interesting. That I didn't know.
Yes.
Is that the one where they chop the cylinder back?
No, there's no cylinder in a 39. The 39 is an automatic.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I heard you talking about wad cutter and Smiths, and I thought you were talking about that monstrosity.
There are ones where when Clark was making guns.
Yep, that's it. Jim Clark's.
Yeah, he would cut the cylinder back, and the new barrel would be extended all the way back. So, and that way there was little jump between the cylinder to the rifling and the forcing cone. So, yeah, it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand why you'd want the jump.
You don't want the jump.
You don't want the jump. I learned that from my dad, Wesson.
But the way those pictures I saw, the cylinders chop back, the wad cutters are actually sticking out the end, but they're not sitting close enough to be touching the barrel.
Oh no. What they did was they cut it back to the wad cutters were just, you could see them, but that was where they were at, and the barrel was threaded back all the way back to where the face of the cylinder.
Oh, so it says a longer barrel. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, they made it so that the barrel actually goes through the frame, through the front strap of the cylinder cutout, and made the barrel go all the way through and all the way back to the cylinder.
Yeah. So the idea was to limit the amount of free travel in the cylinder to before it hits the forcing cone.
Right.
And engaging.
Well, it'd be an ugly summer gun.
Yeah. Powers did the same thing. He did a lot of that kind of stuff there. And then we have NRA, which is their 45 competition, right?
Well, the NRA has 3 different classes. 38 revolver, 38 special. Well, you can shoot revolver in even 45 class, but I've seen it done in 45 ACP, 38, and 22 rimfire.
Okay. So you can shoot the revolver in 45 class. I thought service weapon was a service.
Yes, sir.
Weapon.
5 shots, because it's the way they set up is they do 5 shots at a time.
Okay. All right. I shot PPC in early 80s, and so there was not a whole lot of it was dying. PPC was dying, but it was still the police qualification course that they used to have. That's where everybody shot a revolver, and because they reloaded all the time, they would take and empty the brass into their hand and drop it in their coat, in their pockets, and then take their speed loader and put it in that way. And the old adage was the police in those days that died usually had a handful of brass in their hand because they were so used to, when they were competing, to not dumping the brass on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, I have a little housekeeping issue I'd like to bring up. Somebody is touching your microphone. Paul, is your microphone touching your face?
I think so.
Okay. How about
Thank
that?
you, sir. That actually improved your clarity, too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, 45 ACP for NRA competition was basically a was it 200 to 230 grain bullet in with about 4.5 grains of bullseye to get about 850 feet per second.
That sounds about right. I tried competing with 45 ACP in my 1911. And I'm going to tell you what, that rascal's a handful when she goes off. I was shooting 200 grain semi-wad cutters, and I'm going to tell you, she let me know every time she went off, but boy, it's a handful.
A lot of them are shooting with a scope or a red dot on their sight now.
Mm-hmm. Mine was strictly iron sights.
Yeah.
Like I said, my 1911 is strictly GI.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I take that back. I do have a Crimson Trace on it.
That's a tough one to shoot because of the iron sights on it, compared to people shooting with a Gold Cup or somebody that's had a worked over one that's maybe had a Bomar sight put in or something like that.
That's not me, Mike. Whoever's thumping.
I just put my headset back on my head, so maybe it was me. I thought I had it muted. Sometimes this button doesn't work very well.
Anyway, yeah, you're right, Paul. But you see, like I said, I have shot beside of a guy shooting NRA Bullseye with 45, but it was out of a full moon clip and a revolver.
Okay, so yeah, a model 25.
I couldn't tell you the name of the gun,
yeah.
but I just
Probably.
know. I remember when John was shooting that stuff. I just thought it was very interesting. He would only put 5 in a full moon clip.
And Nick goes over here. He's got a service revolver that has a that uses full moon clips, right?
Nick, are you there?
Yeah, I got my 1917.
There we go. Smith and Wesson.
Yep, mine's Smith.
Now, what's nice about that is you can shoot hollow points and you're not going to have an issue because of the revolver.
Yep, correct.
Yep.
Do you use full moon clips or you use the half moon?
I have both. It all depends on just what I grab when I go out to the range with it.
Okay.
Usually when I'm at reenactment events with it, I'll use half moon clips because that's what they would have had during wartime. But when I go to the range, more than likely it's usually the full moon clips. It all depends on what I grab.
How accurate is that gun?
Mine's not bad. I think at 10 yards, I'm putting about $50.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've grouped it, but that's the last time. I think it was about $50, about 10 yards. So
that's not bad
for a gun that's from the 1920s.
Yeah,
complaining.
It's not bad for a handgun shooting at 45 ACP.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about beating up on the shooter too.
Yeah.
It's
a big boy. Let me go grab it real quick. I won't show the whole thing, but I can show kind of the angle of it.
Yeah, it's not a lightweight gun. That one, that's right up there with, a big full frame 45 ACP. So they are not light, and the grips were thin enough where you could get a good grip on the gun. Not as filling as some of the later Smith and Wessons were. Yes, 6-pack project. Yes, and then frame sized. Yep.
So I keep it in my reproduction holster, but it's a big boy. So.
Yeah. And see the narrowness of the grips; they fit the hand very well.
Oh yeah, and I got big hands in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But,
Jim, did you see that CSR Industries is saying hi?
Yeah, that's why I put stars beside his little comments.
Oh, that's new. I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, I hovered the mouse over and found it, and I thought I'd put a star on, just to show how cute he is.
Well, that's fancy.
Yep. You can also unstar the same comment.
Nice. So I guess we've kind of covered most of the pistol competitions. I'm sure there's some oddball stuff out there that we haven't covered. Plus, we didn't cover SAS.
No, and we haven't covered silhouette shooting either.
That's right. I was going to say NRA silhouette.
I didn't know they did pistol silhouette. Sorry.
Yeah.
I knew they did rifle. I didn't know they did pistol. So how's pistol silhouette set up?
200 yards rams. Same basic setup, except of course it's 100 yards for the chickens, 125 for the javelina, and turkeys are 150 and 200 for the rams, something like that. They break it up.
And there's different classes too. You have a revolver and single shot, if I remember right, or
yep,
yeah, and you can get into some very interesting pistols and loadings in the unlimited and factory single shot.
Yeah.
Well, Law's got a good question up. He wants to know if NRA silhouette was just for Thompson Contender. Absolutely not. It was like Paul Nelson just said. It was for anything from 22 rimfire, revolver, all the way up to 22 automatic, all the way up to, what was that, 44 Super Mag or something like that Dan Weston came up with?
Yeah. And then you had all the single shots with the XP 100 makeovers where they would take and chamber a 308 into an XP 100, or that was one of the ones where JD Jones came up with his 300 Whisper and a few other things. Contenders, when they first came out, were 10-inch, and then they went to 14-inch just for the silhouette rules, because the barrel length had to be 14 inches or less in the single shots. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Dan Wesson also came out with their 357 maximum for for silhouette shooting. The idea behind that was to shoot a 180 grain bullet in there and have enough power to knock the rams over at 200 yards with a 357.
I cast a 210 grain Seiko bullet, truncated cone.
Okay.
You know, when I touch that one off, you know about it.
Uh-huh.
Ask good old Swampy, or well, you probably don't know who Swampy is. A good friend of mine lives in Arkansas. Another good friend of mine lives over in Idaho now. I sent Jason a big box of them. They treasure those bullets.
But yeah, they, there were a number of cartridges that came out just for the single shots too. If you didn't want to rework the bolt face or your XP100, they had 6x45, which is a 6mm on a 223 case resized. Yeah, there were a number of interesting wildcats that were made up for silhouette shooting. And the interesting way of people learn to shoot the single shots and pistols, because you got to remember there's no rest involved in it, so you had to learn how to different positions to shoot from.
Yep.
Does anybody
know Creedmoor position?
Right. Does anybody know what the Creedmoor position is? No.
Flat on your back, legs drawn up. You're resting your single shot pistol, handgun, whatever you want to call it, against the side of your strong side leg, your shooting leg. Use your leg as a rest.
Right.
Interesting.
Your leg as a rest. You take your opposite hand, you put it behind, take your fingers to hold your head up so it's straight.
Yep.
And
so you can also see the darn sights.
Yeah. and you would shoot that way. And originally that was the Creedmoor was from New York, because that's how they shot 1,000 yards with their rifles. In other words, the long-barreled rifles, they would lay down like that and shoot that way. So
how would they hold that? In the armpit?
No, well, yeah. You got to remember the Creedmoor had the rifles had a hook in their.
Oh, that's right.
They had a hook in the butt plate, and they would bring it up, put their head on it like this. Their leg would hold the barrel, and again, the hand behind the head to hold up the head to get be comfortable, and you would then take your iron sights that you had in those days, elevate and make your adjustments and fire your rounds.
Yep.
Interesting.
So
I don't think that would work very well for somebody like me.
Well, I thought there was an interesting comment from Six Pack Project about putting a leather chap on your pants to prevent the muzzle flash from burning your pants off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
It sounds funny, but the guy's right.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of very interesting, they also, they had two-handed standing for people and that kind of stuff. In the
different classes, single shot offhand.
In the 70s and early 80s, when silhouette was popular, because there were enough ranges around, it could be shot. We've been losing ranges that had enough length to have the matches.
Yeah.
So, Paul Loud, bowling pin shoots. Those are a blast.
I've shot bowling pins, but I've not done like an official bowling pin shoot. Back when the local range used to just be pistol and shotgun only, before they decided to open the rifle range and then get real rulesy. You used to be able to take bowling pins out and shoot them. So we would take them out, shoot them with different shot shells and handguns, and just see what it would take to finally destroy it. Those things take a hell of a lot of lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say they take a lot of punishment. Well, they got to. They have to, because, I mean, they're in the bowling alley. They think they're getting battered by the 16-pound balls all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the people that made it famous was Second Chance. There would have their match in Michigan.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And
I heard Moss talking about it.
right.
Masad Ayub, for those of you who don't know who Moss is.
The guy that developed Second Chance was a pizza delivery guy, okay? And he got shot a couple of times.
Yeah.
What is Second Chance? Forgive my ignorance.
Oh, Second Chance vest, bulletproof vest.
Oh.
And he was probably the major supplier of bulletproof vests in the 70s and 80s. Safariland bought him out eventually. But he would hold these matches, and you had a $35 entry fee, and you had a $5 match fee. So you'd enter the competition with $35, and then every time you went to fight, you got into a match, you'd put the $5 up. And so for 3 days you could get away with probably about $500 in ammunition, and $50 you could be shooting for 3 days. Again, minor and major calibers. 9mm was and 38 special were considered minor. 357, 41, 44, and 45 were major. You had 5 pins on a table that was 3 foot deep, and they would put the pin on the front edge of the table, and you had to knock the pin off of the table at the back, not from the front, but at the back. And yeah, it was fast and furious, and it was a timed event, so you had to shoot until all the pins were off the table, and it was timed, and that's how they worked out how you advance into the next stage. There was nothing like it at the time that I remember. It wasn't unusual to see 300 to 400 competitors at a Second Chance shoot, and good prizes. They brought bowling pins in by the semi-load. Okay. They get a chip out of one, they'd replace it. Some of them would sit there and you'd have so many holes in them, it was just unreal. 9mm and 38 got pushed back a foot, so you only had 2 foot to clear the table. But again, you're using heavy loads in 45, 44, 41, always with a hollow point. Everybody used a hollow point. A 45 ACP load would be a 250 grain hollow point. with 5.5 grains of Bullseye in it. Really stiff loads. A lot of people wore their guns out shooting that stuff. Revolvers, again, big heavy bullets. You wanted the bullet not so be so fast to go through the bowling pin, but to have enough oomph to knock it off the table, to get it moving. So you were looking with a 44 Magnum at somewhere around maybe 1,100 feet per second. Same thing with the 41. 357. If you could get 900 feet per second with a 200 grain hollow point, you were doing pretty good. 9mm in that were all 147s. 38 specials were 158s.
So with what would you do with Bullseye? Like, I don't know if I don't think we really kind of got into details. We just kind of were talking about basics. But I mean, for most of this shooting, you can do it on a progressive without a problem.
Right.
What about Bullseye?
NRA Bullseye, you mean, Mike, or Bullseye the powder?
NRA Bullseye.
NRA Bullseye, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And NRA Silhouette. Are you going to want to load those on a progressive, or are you going to want to hand load those on a single stage?
Now, if you're going to do something like Creedmoor, shooting like a 6.5 Creedmoor, I would hand load them. But like for NRA Bullseye, I absolutely always did it on my Dillon.
Okay.
My Mark III progressive from C&H was set up originally to do 38 special hollow base wad cutters. So it was a straight line progressive that had an automatic case feed and special dies to handle a wad cutter bullets.
Okay.
Yeah, because the wad cutter is made out of pure lead. It's going to be a very delicate bullet.
Right.
Particularly the heel or skirt of the bullet.
And if the seating die was set up so it had a very wide mouth. Okay, so instead of being very narrow, it was wide, and they called it a speed feeder because you had no taper to the nose of the bullet to align with the case, so you had to have the die make up for the taper of the bullet. So as you ran the press, the taper, the opening of the die being as wide as it was, you could set the bullet in there and pull the handle, and it would take it and go down. And then the next one was the crimp die, and because you were seating flush to the top of the case, your crimp die would come over and crimp almost like a shotgun shell. So you had a very severe crimp, is what I would call it, on the case. So 45 ACP, you reloaded 45 ACP. You were looking at very very consistent bullets and very consistent powder charges. And yes, you would still be able to reload on a progressive. C&H also made a straight line progressive for 45 ACP. I had a friend of mine had a Mark V and 45 ACP, and he had a Huel case feeder for it, which was high class in those days. So didn't have to fill the tubes up on the CNHs, and then you had star presses and everything else that. Paul Loud, yes. CH4D special seating dies, yes. That's what I was talking about. The speed seater, and they're the ones that made the Auto Champ loaders to progressively load the 38 specials. So, yeah, that's why it was called a speed seating die, because otherwise you had to hold your fingers just there as it came down so you could get it into the case with that straight bullet, and the speed seater was just much faster. So we got any questions out there, guys?
Let me put that banner back up. Thank you, Paul. This crawler across the bottom of the screen is for the gallery.
Yeah,
Welcome back,
six-pack project, yes. Silhouette in 2 decades, at least. I mean, this is 2022. I haven't seen a pistol silhouette range in 30 years. Surrender, you there?
I'm here.
You shoot some 3-gun, don't you?
Oh gosh, no. I attempted it one time when I was originally learning how to shoot, and it was fun, but there's not any place close to me where I could go regularly and participate. And usually when there are some that are close, I already got something I committed to.
Okay.
I tried 3-gun one time. I hated it because I didn't realize at the time why I hated it. It's very difficult.
I
It's
loved
very
it.
difficult. 3-guns takes a pretty serious shooter.
It really does. You got to have some speed, a little bit of grace.
And you have to think through the course as you go through it.
Yep.
That's right.
As
you go through, not before or after.
Well, before you go through it, that way you get it in your muscle memory how you want to shoot it.
Yep.
It also doesn't hurt to have some cardio under your belt too.
Yes. But you got to be careful, because you got to make sure you pay attention to how they're scoring it, because some, and I haven't shot them personally, but from what I've heard from other people talking, is you have to watch out, because some scoring systems are set up so speed is king, and some are set up so accuracy is king. So you got to pay attention to how they're scoring.
I've heard of hybrids too, where accuracy and speed are combined.
Right.
Well, that's like IPSC and IDPA, where speed and accuracy are both combined, because if you're shooting A's and you go outside of it, then you're shooting a C or a D. You're losing a lot of points. Rimfire games. Yeah, we were talking about reloading, but there are a lot of rimfires competitions that are out there. The Sportsman's Challenge, I think, is coming up this month. You have the Steel Challenge in rimfire. So yeah, there's quite a few. It's just you want to spend the money on it. That's great. And here I am talking about it with race guns and everything else, but the difference is when I bought a race gun back in the day, it was $2,000. Okay, that was a lot of money for a race gun. Nowadays they're talking between $4,000 and $8,000 for a race gun, and that's getting up there, guys.
I mean, it depends on what you want on it, because you can get like CZ's fanciest, their Checkmate Parrot. Well, I don't think it's their fanciest. I think they got a couple other ones, but their CZ Parrot, their Checkmate Parrot, is only $3,500.
Okay.
So, but then they've got two lower levels there. They've got the TS2 and the Shadow 2. TS2, I think, is $2,000, and then the TS2 is $1,500. So, and it's basically your different sights and rests and.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
So, but I mean, then you've got your STIs, your staccatos.
Yeah, you go to an Atlas and you're looking at 90 days and $8,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you getting for the extra money?
You're getting a completely hand-built gun.
Okay.
Completely. And you're going to get their grip, which is their manufactured grip instead of a plastic grip.
Yeah.
It'll be a metal one, and which is I think they're selling the metal grip for about $700, then having it fit. So and then the longer barrels, their own manufactured barrels and such that are built to their specifications, which are Schumer, I believe they're Schumer barrels. And yeah, STI, Staccato, they make their own barrels. They don't order them from a custom barrel maker. Yeah, so you're getting it's getting there dollar wise. Having somebody make everything for them. They're making their own frames, they're making their own slides and everything. So that's a lot of machining that goes into it for call it a low production gun.
Yep.
So but people buy them. I think Travis was talking about buying an Atlas for a while there.
I'm getting one too.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
Seriously?
I know. Seriously.
How are you talking your way into that one?
I could, after listening to you troublemakers, and then I've also seen there's a guy that's consigning one at the gun store I work at occasionally. When you look at that and you look at a mag pool, and then you go and you look at a couple of videos, and then you talk to a couple of actually pro staff shooters, it makes sense.
Oh, good news. The Atlases are maximum of 6,500. So.
Oh, okay. With the sights? Okay.
I don't know. That's Artemis 40 Smith & Wesson. Why the hell would you want a 40 Smith & Wesson? Oh,
Same
no,
reason why you and I like
that's
them.
the base. Then you start adding your
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you start adding your the grips are included.
Uh-huh.
Base pads included. Magwell, nope. Yep, Magwell's included. Mag follower is included. It's the trigger, optics plate. Oh, if you get the flat short black, it's free. But if you want to get any of the fancy colors, it's $100. And then $100 for any of the plates.
That's for
And
you,
that's
the
for-
candy
that's-
apple purple, Sharonda.
And that's for a slide ride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slide ride. Look at their competition ones for their open guns.
They only show 7. They show an Athena, an Artemis, a Nemesis, an NYX.
We've got a good reloading question on screen.
That one?
That one. Zeke, it's not off topic, first off.
Yep. So selecting powder loads for shot shells, I download 10% from what is in the book and work up. I notice some loads have multiple rows of data and others only have one. When you're looking at those multiple rows of data, make sure that everything else matches besides your powder grains. A lot of times with shot shells, you may have one powder, but you may have 4 different hulls and 6 different wads and 5 different primers. And so that's why you're getting all that data versus another option. There's literally only one charge, one wad, and one hull. So,
Mike, I've never loaded a shot shell in my life, but let me ask you this. Isn't the general advice given always follow the loads exactly, never work up? General rule of thumb.
Usually for shot shell, yes.
Thank you.
But I mean, we do the same thing for regular loading, so. But
For regular reloading, we always work up from 10% below max.
Yeah, but they all, so.
Mike, look at Chaos 2 at Atlas Gunworks. CHAOS 2.
Oh, Chaos 2?
Chaos 2. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's just showing in-stock guns. That's why.
Yeah, they're out of stock, but
well, no, because that's not even. That's dumb.
Because they're 8,000. They're 7,999.
Oh, there we go. Now we got a whole bunch more options. That's stupid. You click on guns when the page loads, and they just give you those stupid 7.
Right.
There we go. Chaos 2.0s. Oh, there we go. Hard chrome 9mm version 2 8249. Nice.
Mike, what website are you on again?
AtlasGunworks.com.
Oh Lord, I thought you were talking about. Never mind.
What were you thinking I was talking about?
The Atlas bipods.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was chewing. Couldn't hear past my crunching.
That's what you get for eating while we're talking.
Hey, it's the only time I've been able to eat.
Well, that's your problem, not mine. Slacker.
Asshole. Excuse me.
She gonna kick your
Why?
ass, Michael.
Why? Thank you. That's right. Lee doesn't have any shot shell data.
That's right, Trenda. We realize you've had your hands full.
Lyman is the best book to go through for shot shell
Yeah, it's
data.
back there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, 6-pack project. Yeah, he's that was kind of the thing I was looking at. He says lots of times, and I would have been able to figure that out if I was looking at the data. But lots of times they'll show dram equivalent, which was black powder measurement. Dram equivalent speeds for load, hence why you'll find a load with 3 wets for powder charge and spreads at 25, 75, 1250, etc. So, dang it, I got something in my eye. Sorry. And it's not my eyeball. Anyway.
West Covina Dodge. Okay. Yeah, we got to get you into the modern age and get away from the drill with the socket and the propane torch.
He's doing that for annealing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ed asked a question earlier about what is recommended for annealing machines.
No,
like
well, he asked on a specific one. He asked specifically about the burst fire.
Right.
I haven't.
But he also said he was in the market for a reload for an annealing machine.
Let me look if they're on sale this week.
Who was the gentleman we had on 2 weeks ago with his annealing machine?
Brain fart.
Yeah, I know.
That was Todd.
Yeah, EP integrations.
Yeah,
right.
EP integrations.
Yeah, so the EP integration is about the same price as that burst fire. I was watching a kind of a video in the background. The burst fire looks cool, but it's got that too. It's just I can understand why you'd want both case prep and annealing, but I don't know. It just
one machine does not make the whole.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Get one.
It all depends on what kind of cartridges he's doing. Like I know I do tons, so the EP 2.0 works good for me. It's just, but if you're doing 1 or 2, one of those rubber wheel style work for most people. So
yeah. Which one do you have, Jim? The
Annealese.
There's another one that'll work. Okay. You don't need to go out and spend $600 for a Gerard. Annealese is just as good. Any of the ones that we've mentioned here are just as good, and unless you're willing to spend $1,300, then you can go up to an amp or $600 and get a little Annie.
Annealing Annie.
Little Annie, yeah.
That's electrical induction.
They're electrical, right? And they use a induction heating method to anneal the case. It's very fast, but it's still a lot of handwork. The most consistent is the amp, and annealing made perfect. But you got to spend the money for it, and you really have to want to be an extremely accurate hand loader for it.
And if you want to watch a video, on the
Good,
EP
man.
2.0 annealer. Jump over to my channel. It's that Mill Serp Duo. My dad and I did a good review. What is that? How long is that? Almost 18-minute long video on it. So, and if you got any questions, just feel free to ask one of us. And if not me, I can answer anything you got on that. And I know the owner of the company, and I email them all the time. So if you got any questions, feel free to ask.
We don't have
I
him as a
believe
guest
the
one day.
annealings goes for about $400.
We're going to, and we have.
Cool.
You were busy that day.
Has annealings gone up that much? I thought it was a $300 machine.
It might have. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So I wish I knew what powder Zeke was using. Zeke, what powder are you using? So, looking here. So, I don't know. I don't have access to Hornady's online, so I'm using Hodgdon's. But only 1,128 loads for an ounce and an eighth. But anyway, I digress.
Annealings is $275 now.
Okay.
So, and is it free shipping? I can't remember.
I don't know. But at any rate, if you're swinging over to Primary Arms and you're looking for a barrel, right now they've got the Expo Arms Combat Series 5.56 chrome lined government profile mid-lake 16-inch. If you get that particular barrel, and then you use coupon code FRN, you will get one of these little beauties for free. This is their Expo Arms M-Lock barrier stopping device. So you get one of these little beasties for free if you buy that particular barrel. That's all this month. So
those things are nice to keep your hands away from them short barrel rifle ends.
So I've been really impressed with the Expo Arms upper that they sent me to try out. It's really nice, really, really well behaved. I haven't bothered to make a load for it yet, but it's really good. They've got an anniversary sale going on right now. If you're listening to this within close proximity to September 20th. So, swing over, check them out. That's coupon code FRN for that. If you hear this and you're wondering, you can email reloadingpodcast@gmail.com and I'll get you the links for the barrel. So I want to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company. Ryan, so we were joking with Ryan. He was out in Hawaii, and so I was asking him if he was going to be recreating the patches while he was out there from August. These are September's patches. But these were August's patches, so I was asking him if he was going to recreate these while he was out in Hawaii. I didn't get an answer. So, but as you can see, make some really good, awesome patches. So these are the two current ones for September. So waiting to see what October's is. October's is always good. November's usually one relating to Black Friday. They also do custom work. So, yep, they also do custom work. So if you got something you're interested in maybe getting made up, stickers, morale patches, swing over to Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co, and reach out to them. So, anybody got any shout outs? Jim?
Ada Potter, longtime friend of the show and a longtime listener.
Thank you. Thank you for the donations.
Thanks, Cal.
I got one. GGW. Usually he's in on these every night, but
Reloading, but now outdoors. Yes.
Yeah, now outdoors. He found a book at his local thrift store on history of the U.S. military.
Ooh.
So he's sending me. So hopefully I'll get that by next week, so I can show that off.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh wait, I think it's from 1775 to 1954.
Oh, cool.
So it's got a lot of the older information in it, which is nice.
That'll be really cool. Something you don't see any day.
No, you don't.
It's not politically correct.
Oh yeah. Plus, it's old and dusty.
Exactly.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm too tired to do it. So, anyway, gang, if you want to get a hold of us, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. You can text us or leave us a voicemail, 608-467-0308. You can reach us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on MeWe, we're on Discord, and we're on Instagram. Make sure you check out all the shows on the Firearms Radio Network, because there's a lot of cool stuff out there for a lot of people. And there's a bunch more that have been being added constantly. Wow. And by the way, this isn't even half empty, just so you know. So no, I'm not drunk. I don't know what the hell. Anyway, thank you to everybody that tunes in live every week. Thank you to everybody that listens and downloads and gives us feedback. We appreciate it all. And on that note,
1 second. Don't forget, guys, next week, live chat. One of you all going, at least one, if not two of you all going to get something in the giveaway.
there you go.
Go ahead, Mike. Thanks.
Keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the mill short bus.
Teach a lady how to reload and then let her pinch off your stash just a little bit.
Grandpa told me, don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment, the most important right we have. It's what puts teeth in the First Amendment.
That's right. If you're struggling, reach out, 988 or 1-800-273-8255. They've got trained professionals to be able to get you the help you need. If you're struggling, reach out. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Let's hear from
Right,
you.
so.
Yep. Send us some emails.